All right, so today we're looking at a piece called The High Cost of Financial Frugality on Health.
A really compelling premise.
Yeah, it's about a man, Alan, whose fear of spending money leads to this complete collapse of his health and his career.
It's a great setup, you know? The stakes feel so real. But I think the draft, it sort of gets in its own way.
How so?
It feels like it's trying to be two different things at once. Like, is it a story or is it a WebMD article?
Exactly, and that's the first big thing for me. The piece oscillates too abruptly between this really intimate character study and just, well, clinical exposition.
It just pulls you right out.
It does.
I mean, one minute you're right there with Alan. You're in his head feeling the stress, and then bam!
The narrator just steps in with a clipboard.
Totally. You get these lines like, medical guidelines clearly state, or physicians often remind patients. It just stops the story cold.
It feels like a lack of trust in the reader almost. Like we can't figure out that chronic pain is a bad thing on our own.
So the suggestion here is pretty straightforward, I think.
It is. We need to weave all those medical facts directly into Alan's own subjective experience.
Yes. Don't tell us the diagnosis. Make us feel the symptoms.
Right. So instead of just stating that his cortisol levels rose, describe it.
Describe his heart hammering his ribs when he just looks at a price tag.
Or that specific grinding stiffness in his neck that just refuses to release.
Let the symptoms do the explaining. The reader is smart enough to get it.
Okay, but even if we fix that tone, there's a bigger issue with the structure. The resolution arc feels disproportionately fast and linear.
Oh yeah, way too fast. It's that classic magic bullet problem.
It really is. He buys a lumbar cushion and some new shoes, and suddenly his entire life is fixed.
His pain vanishes, his job is stable, somehow his kids' grades are improving. It undermines the entire struggle we just read about.
It makes it all feel less real. So what's the fix?
The suggestion is to introduce some friction. Recovery is not a clean, straight line. We need to see a more gradual progression.
So that the payoff actually feels earned.
Exactly. So for an example, maybe he buys those expensive shoes.
But he immediately feels that sick sting of buyer's remorse.
Right, he feels physically a bit better, but now he's just nauseous about the money he spent.
And the situation at work doesn't just stabilize.
No, you show him slowly, day by day, chipping away at that backlog with his renewed energy. It's a grind, not a miracle.
And that idea of buyer's remorse gets at what I think is the biggest missed opportunity in the whole draft.
Which is?
The psychological mechanism behind Alan's frugality is described externally rather than felt internally.
I completely agree. We're told he is paralyzed by spending, but we don't actually see why.
We don't see the math, the terrible math he's doing in his head that makes this $30 purchase feel like a life or death decision.
So he just comes across as stubborn, maybe? Instead of genuinely, sympathetically terrified?
So the suggestion is to dramatize a specific moment of hesitation. Let's put the reader right there with him at the store.
Yeah, for instance, picture him holding a $30 ergonomic mouse.
To us, it's just a mouse, but what's he thinking?
We need to hear that internal calculation. He shouldn't see a price tag. He should be thinking, this is 2 days of groceries.
Or this is the textbook my daughter needs for her class.
And then you show him physically putting that mouse back on the shelf. That one moment tells us everything we need to know about his fear.
It grounds the emotion immediately.
It really does.
So to recap the plan here, first, integrate the medical data into his experience. Let the symptoms tell the story.
Second, make the recovery feel more realistic. Add some friction, slow it all down.
And finally, and I think this is the most important one, we need to deepen the internal conflict.
Let us hear that terrifying math that's going on in Alan's head.
Exactly. I think with those changes, this piece could go from a good idea to a really powerful narrative.
Absolutely.
We would love to see where you take this. Refine the draft, and please feel free to send it back in. Thanks for listening.